Right, we have discussed about the relational operators. We have discussed about the relational operators, and also we have discussed about the logical operators. Right now, can you tell me what are the relational operators? What are the relational operators? Let me know what are the relational operators.
Greater than, less than.
Yes, we have greater than. We have, like, for an example, x is greater than y. We have x is less than y, and then x is greater than or equals to y. X is less than or equals to y. We have what else? We have x equals y, x not equals y. Right now we have these operators. Right now, always these operators gave us what kind of result?
Boolean.
Boolean value. Yes. Now these always these results in Boolean. Result is in Boolean we have. Right. Then we discuss about some logical operators. What are the logical operators we discuss?
Or not and.
Yes, we discuss about O operator and operator, and thereafter we discuss about not operator and or not. And also we have discussed about this two and operators and two operators. What do you call this? What do you call that? Okay, what's the difference? At least tell me.
The and is the short circuit logical operator.
Sorry?
The and is a short circuit logical operator.
Yes, now this is you call as the like now this is the normal AND operator or the bitwise AND operator. And this one also bitwise operator, the normal operator. This is logical AND operator or logical operator, or we call as short circuit AND operator, short circuit operator, likewise we can call it as. Right, then why we call it as logical AND? What's the difference? Now this is, you can call it as logical AND. Call it as bitwise and oh, Normal operator, normal AND operator we can call. Right. What's the difference? Last time we discussed. Can someone tell me? What's the difference between AND operator versus single AND operator or two single AND operators? Or bitwise AND and the logical AND. Or the single AND was double AND. Can't remember? What's the difference and how the way it works? Right now, which operator will check the both sides of the operands?
Bitwise.
Yes, the normal AND operator. Here, this one would check the both sides of the operands, left side and the right side of the operands. It will check, no matter answer is. Right, and then that will return that this will return true if both conditions are true. Right now, normal operator also will check both operands and then will return true if either part is true. The not operator will give you the opposite result. If it is not true, will give you false likewise. The short circuit AND or the logical AND. A logical AND operator will evaluate right the left side or the first operand and if necessary the second operand. For an example, okay, when the logical AND operator will not evaluate the second operand, give me an example. The scenarios may be true and false, or true and true, false and true, false and false. Right. Now tell me, in which scenario the logical AND operator will not check the second operand? We don't know, let's say the result. Now here I have given the outcome of the expression. I don't know whatever the expression here we have. Okay. Now I'm asking, okay, let's say we have 1 greater than 0 and 0 greater than 1. Right now here. Okay, which scenario? Right now in the first case, will it check the both expressions? Will it evaluate the both expressions? Now it has to evaluate no, to get the answer. Will it in Java compiler, will it check the both expressions?
Yes.
Okay, now 1 greater than 0, which will result in true. Therefore, if it is true, we don't know about the other operand. Then if based on the other operand, the result would be changed. Therefore, result is depending on the second operand answer as well. Because if it is true, the second one also true, then only answer becomes true. Therefore, it has to check the second operand 0 greater than 1 false. So it would return false as the answer. Right. In the second scenario, will this check the both sides?
Yes.
1 greater than 0, which is true. So we don't know about the second operand. The answer depends on the second operand as well. Therefore, we have to check. then 1 is greater than 0, true. Now, yes, since this is true, answer is become true. The third scenario,
No, sir.
0 greater than 1 false. Now it is false. So, no matter what you have here, right, the result would be false there because we know that the AND operator will return true if both conditions are true. If the first condition is true, no matter the second condition is, whatever it is, it would be false. So, even without checking the second operand, it would result false. In this scenario, 0 greater than 1 false. Therefore, no matter what we have here, it doesn't matter, but whatever the result will not change the final result here. So, will not check the second operand. So, if the first operand is false, with the logical AND, result would be false, and it will not check the second condition or the second operand or the right side operand. Is that clear?
Yes.
Right, sorry. Mm. Right, then, okay. Hmm. Okay, then we have discussed about that. Operator was the same. Okay. The logical operator, will it return when it will not check the second operand? Now, if instead of this logical AND, if we have logical operator, when it would check the second operand, or which scenarios? Now, for the AND operator, we could say logical AND. If the first operand is false, no matter what the second operand is, the result would be false. So, the second operand will not get evaluated. We can conclude. If it is a logical operator, what can we say?
If the first operand is true.
If the first operand is true, yes, right. Just give me Right. So I'm sorry for that. Okay, then the short circuit, the logical operator will check the second operand when the first operand is false, because if either condition is true, the logical operator will return true. No? Therefore, if one of the operand is true, the result would be true. So, here in this scenario, right, no matter what we have here, it won't check the second side, because, right, if it is whatever we have here, it won't check, it will return true, because it doesn't matter what you have here, because the first condition is true. Therefore, whatever the condition is will not do any change to the result. Right, if it is the false, now then only we have to check whether this one also false or true. By any chance, if this condition become true, the answer would become true. So the second operand will be evaluated if the first operand is false. Now that's how the logical operator is working. Right. I think up to this point, is it clear?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Now
Yes.
we have discussed about the conditional evaluations. Right. That means operators, we could use the relational operators or the conditional operators, and how we can combine. Right. Then there are scenarios that we have to do some certain activities depending on the condition. Right. Now, for an example, when you calculate something, let's say if you get the marks or something, marks is 45 or above 45, then you need to display something. If the mark is less than that, you need to do something. That means you need to do different activities depending on the results or the outcome. So if you want to do different activities by depending on the condition, depending on the statement, depending on the answer, then we have to use conditional statements. Therefore, in order to use conditional statement, or we can use Java if statements, right? Now, in Java, if statement, right? Now we could use inside if condition these statements, right? These operators. Now let me switch it off. Right now, Java if statement. Right now, Java if statements, right, comes with the if keyword. Therefore, if you are using an if statement, you have to use the keyword if. And then here inside this brackets, right now, this has to evaluate it to a Boolean value. This has to evaluate it to a Boolean value. Either it could be true or false. Therefore, this has to be a Boolean value. Right now, inside this brackets, right now, it has to be a Boolean value, true or false. Therefore, now, here we can put the conditions. Right now, we can use the relational operators, because relational operators will result in Boolean value. Logical operators also we can use, because if we have to check multiple conditions, multiple relational operators, then we can put 2 or 3 relational operators, and we can combine those with these logical operators. Whatever you use, this has to be true or false. Then, right thereafter, inside the round brackets, you need to have the condition. Then, as usual, inside the curly brackets, you need to define the body statements. That means, what are the body statements? If the condition is true, what needs to happen? If the condition is true, what needs to happen? Now, this is defined inside the if condition, right? Right now, this is how you can define an if. For an example, right now, if we have a variable called x, if x is greater than 10, if x is greater than 10, or let's say if x is greater than 45, okay, you need to say, okay, you have passed. If x is greater than 45, then you need to say you have passed. Right. Now display pass and greet. Right now you can say if the marks is above 45, we can say we have to display pass and we need to greet the student, whatever. Right. Then here you can have multiple statements here. Whatever the statements we have inside the brackets will be considered as the body statement of the if. And then Here it would be displayed. And then if these would get executed if and only if this marks variable is greater than 45. If it is not, if this marks variable is not greater than 45, this will not get evaluated. Right now we have to check on that, how we can work with the if conditions, and thereafter we have combinations of if. Right now we have if only if condition, or some if the condition is false. If the condition is false, uh, just a minute. Yes, if the condition is false, if the condition is if the condition is true, executes only if the condition is true. Right, okay. Right now try out if condition, just a minute. So now I think let's try out in example. What did you try? Let me use a new one. Right now let's define the class first. Class test public. Right. Right now let's say we don't know still how to get the inputs now. We will discuss this live after this. Now, if it is integer x equals, let's say 10, okay, and I'm going to check if, let's say I need to check whether it is an odd number or even number. Right now, can someone tell me how can we check whether it's an odd number? How can you check a number is an odd number?
Modulus by 2 equals to 0.
Yes, by modulus by 2, by equaling it to 0, we can check whether it is an odd number or not. Right. So, I'm going to check. Right. If x value modulus by 2, if x modulus 2, if it is equals to 0, then it would be an even number, right? So, I'm going to display system.out.println. Right. And I'm going to say, whatever the answer x is even. Right. Now, done. Okay, let's save in the desktop. Test.java. Java. Right now, it says whatever the answer is even. Right. Now 10 is even, it will say. Right. And by any chance, if it is 9, we have. Right now, you can see you won't see any result. You won't see any result. Why is it? Because now you won't see any results. That is not even number. 9 is not an even number. Then I'm checking the condition. If whether this, when you divide by 2, the remainder is 0. I'm checking whether the remainder is 0. If it is not, it won't evaluate this, because it will skip. Right now, here, let me put this one afterwards, end, just to print end. Right, semicolon missing. Right now, here, if it is x equals 9, if condition become false, so it won't evaluate this, it would return end. If x equals 8, then it would say 8 is even. Right. Now, we could check, we could get an idea now. If this condition is true, then only it can evaluate this condition. And if it is false, it won't evaluate the body statements. Right. Right. Then, if it is not the case right now, if the condition is false, I want to display something else as well. In this scenario, I can go ahead with the else. And for else also, we can put the brackets, right? And then I can say, this is x is an odd. X is an even number and x is an odd number. Right. Now, if I run, it says 8 is even. And if it is 9, then it would say 9 is odd. And no matter what, after this condition, here, this will execute this end statement because this is after this now. No matter what you have here, if the condition is true, it can evaluate this. If it is false, it can evaluate this. And then it gonna display this. Right. Right now, we'll quickly write a program to check whether a number is a negative or positive. Write a program to check whether a given number is a negative or positive. Quickly do it and send it to me via chat, please. Right. Okay, now this is what I got. Right now, it checks whether if it is x is greater than 0, it says positive. Otherwise, but today now there's a problem now in this code. Can someone tell me what is the problem here? Can someone tell me what is the problem here? Is this correct? Duminder, Lasit, is this correct? I didn't hear you, Duminder.
Yes.
Yes. Check carefully.
-9 should be 9.
No, it's okay. Now x is right now here. This could be any value, no? Let's say x could be any value. We don't know the x value. Okay. Right now, is this correct? Now, will this if condition will give the result correctly?
If the x is equal to 0, there will be no results.
If x is equals to
0.
yes, when x is 0, it would gives you as what?
Nothing. No.
What would be the result if x is 0?
It will be negative.
Yes, it would display as negative. It would display as negative when if x equals 0, because here it check the condition only x is greater than 0. No? If x is greater than 0, it says positive. For all other numbers, if this condition is false, that means x could be 0 or negative. So it would display it as negative. Right. Now, in this scenario, we have to check at least, we have to say positive or negative. No? 0 is not positive or negative even. So here, therefore, there's a small logical issue. Right. Therefore, if you have to fix it, right now I can check whether if x is right now, if you don't know how to combine these, right? Then what we can do again, right? If we could have easily done this using this. So if x is greater than 0, positive. If x is less than 0, right, negative. And if x is equal to 0, I can say 0. Right. Now in this scenario, oh, I don't need to say right. Now tell me, okay, if x is 7, how many if conditions will this execute? For an example, if I say this is the one and this is the two, and let's say three, there are three if conditions now. Right. My concern is if x equals 7, how many if conditions will this evaluate?
All three.
Sorry?
All three.
2 or 3? 2
No.
or
Alarm is set for 2:03
All three.
p.m.
Like all of them.
all of 3. Yes, all of 3. Yes. Now, in this scenario, even though this is true or this is false, doesn't matter. It will check this condition. Even though this is right or wrong, it doesn't matter. This will check this condition as a, because the compiler will treat this as a separate if conditions. Therefore, every if conditions will get evaluated. Even whatever this condition is true or false, doesn't matter. All these conditions will be evaluated. Right now, again, right. Then again, you can think now we can put if conditions inside if as well. Okay, so since I am now here, we have 3, we can reduce it to 2. How can we do it? If this is false, then we have else statement. If this is false, then we are in the else statement. If it is else, right, we can put if it is else, right, we're going to put another if condition inside. And now, without checking this condition, if it is else, that means if this condition become false, I can put again another if condition. Now, if x is greater than 0, positive. If not, that means if it comes to the else, that means what? This is either less than 0 or equals 0. Now I'm going to check whether x is less than 0. Then I'm going to say it is negative. Then I'm going to have else. No need to check another condition. Obviously, 2 conditions has been checked already because I have checked for negative, I have checked for positive. So I just have to check whether it is. I have to just say if it is not either case, it should be 0. Right, now you can see here, now in this scenario. Okay, in this scenario, how many if conditions will get evaluated? Now, previous it was 3 or 3 separate if conditions. Now, how many?
First one.
Sorry?
Only the first one.
Only the first one. Wrong. Only the first one it says there. That is, you can say it is correct, but if it is, it depends on the answer. If it is a positive number you entered, then only the first one. Yes, correct. If it is not the positive, if it is x is not positive, then even if this condition is false, then again it will go to the else. Inside the else, there's another if condition, then it will check this. Then at most, in the worst case scenario, it will check 2 if conditions. If in the best case scenario, it will check 1 if condition. Is that clear? Right now, by putting a nested if condition. Right now, the same thing here, right? We could write it as, now the same thing, we could write it as using if else if ladder. Right now, this is how you're going to write it. Now, this is what we have. We can have if And then else, inside the else, again we have if no, therefore we can remove this bracket and then we can have else if. And then finally we can have else. By doing so, we can remove this bracket. Right, now this else is optional. If you don't want, you don't have to put this else. Because now, here we know if this is, if once you check whether it is for positive and once you check for negative, there will be only one case left, which is 0. Therefore, we don't have to check another if condition. Therefore, we could replicate this. We could write the same thing using if, else, if ladder. Then if, else if, else if, else if, else if you want, you can have else is optional if you want, then only you need to have else statement. Right. So, right now, right now, first I want you to write, let's say, if we have two numbers, find the maximum. Right, display the maximum number. If you have two numbers, how to find the maximum number? Once you complete it, send it to me via chat. And thereafter, if you have three numbers, how to find the maximum? All right, now the answers I have received. Okay, let me share one. Right. Okay. Let's write it first. We'll write it. Rather copying it is easier. Let's copy. Mm. Now we have. Okay, we would have done it at this point. We don't need to do it in separate lines. We could do it in one. Okay. If A is greater than B, we're gonna say A is greater than B. Right. Else we have only two cases now. Then we're gonna say B is greater than B is greater than A. Right. Now this is perfect. Right. 15 is greater than 10. It always says. Now if it is 25 or 20, now it says 20 is greater than 10. 20 is greater than 15. Right. Now you know. Right now this is working. Perfect. Now the next question was to check when we have three scenarios, three numbers. We wanted to check if we have three cases, three numbers to check whether how to do that. But now we have checked only for two conditions. So then how can we check for three? If when you have three numbers, we wanted to check whether which one is the greater. Then we can check if A is greater than B and if A is greater than C. A is greater than C. If A is greater than B and A is greater than C, now we can see max is A. Max A. Right. And then again we can check whether else if B is greater than A and if B is greater than C, you know maximum is B. Otherwise, no cases. All right. Otherwise, it would say max is C. Right. Right. Now, right now, let's say whether how this is gonna work out. A, B, C. We have that seen. Now it says C is 30 and now A is 20, X is 20. If we have different values now, this would be okay, fine. See, right, by any chance, if we have 20, 20, 20, right, 20, 20, 30, then it gives you max is 30. Right, now, fine. 20, 20, 10. Now, which one is the greater? It says max is 10. 20, 20, 10 it says now. Right now it's wrong now. In this scenario, it's wrong now. Why? Now it worked well for most of the cases, but in some scenarios it is not. Now this is what again, when it comes to programming, when you are making a logic, when you are defining a logic, that you need to think right now whether this logic will work for all the cases. Or then you need to think of all possible scenarios which could happen, and thereafter you need to come up with a solution. If you do not think all the scenarios, all possible solutions, right, all possible cases, now your program will not work. Right now, let's say if it is a very important system or something like that. Now, if it is A is 20, B is 20, C is 10. Now, your program is showing you Answer is maximum is 10, which is wrong. But previous cases, it worked very well. But now it is not. Therefore, now these are the edge cases. Right now, we need to come up with a way how to fix this. Right now, let's say max, we'll have again for our reference, which one has got executed, max B and max C, something like that. Right now you can say max C wrong, because now it is how can we fix it? Think. How to fix this? Tell me. Come up with a way to fix this. Quickly figure out and let me know how can we come up with a solution for this.
So can we use A is greater than equal to B, and the next statement B is greater than equal to A.
A is greater than or equals to B and B is
In the next statement, else if B is greater than equal to A.
B is greater than or equals to A. Only this?
Yes.
Right. Let's say. Okay, it says A is 20, but B also 20, no? A is 20. Ah, okay, because A is 20. Uh-huh. Let's say 10. Now it says C is 20, but B, now in that case, at least it has to display B is 20, no, first occurrence is 20. First number. How can you come up with that? What do you think? How to fix that? Is it a limitation, or can we fix it, or can we can't do that? Or tell me. Any idea? No options, or can we fix it, or we can't? What do you think? Right. So we need to check the three numbers. So let's see. I'm gonna put the equal sign here as well. Now I have received two of your answers as well. Let's check whether um in this scenario it says maximum is the first ever occurrence, it will give you the result. If it is A also 20, now it should display A as 20. Because if it is A30 and B30, A and C30, still it would display A is 30. Now, what is the first occurrence? If all the numbers are the same, it would give you the first occurrence of the highest number. Right. Now, my question is to write. Um, we will discuss how to take the inputs right after this. Then we can just hard code. Right now, I want you to display whether the given number is positive odd, positive even, negative odd, negative even, or zero. I want you to do that. Positive odd or positive even, negative odd or negative even, or zero. I don't mind how many if conditions you use. Try to use the minimum number of if conditions possible, and then write a program. And if you have any other questions, you can ask. Quickly try out. So, Right. So, yes, right. One last question. Okay. The most famous question, the gradings. Right now, here you have to ask user to enter the grades, that is marks scored, and based on the marks, you need to display the grade. Okay, try this quickly as well. Works. Okay, let's save this and let's run it and see. It says mark is 75. So the question is 70 to 79. It should be C. If it is 85, if it is 85, it has to be B. If it is 45, all right. If it is 45, it has to say fail. 45 has not updated, no? Yes. Right. Now, by looking at this code, do you see any right now, let's say, unnecessary conditions is evaluating here? Do you see any unnecessary conditions? Anyone? Right now, okay, let's go through this code. Right now, if what does it check here? Someone tell me quickly. What would be checked here, and then which numbers will display this statement?
90 to 100.
Adisha, little bit. I can't hear you.
90 to 100.
90 to 100. The numbers in between 90 to 100 would be displayed A. Right, okay. If this condition is false, that means what? If this condition is false, what do you think?
It goes to the next condition.
Okay, now for which values? What can you say about the numbers? Okay, now I'm asking if this is false, if this condition false, then what can you say about the numbers? If this condition is false, then what can you say about the given marks number value?
Below 90.
0?
Below than 90.
Below than 90. Okay, below than 90, or in this scenario, it could say above 100. Right now, okay. So now the problem here is in this code, right now, it will check. Now in this code, these are separate if conditions, no? Even the mark is 85 or 95, it would display A, but it would check each and every if condition. Not necessary at all, right? Because why? If this is true, then why should we check the rest? If this is true, because then we don't have to check the rest of the conditions. It's unnecessary. Unnecessary resource wastage. Because everything when it comes to computer is limited, right? Even the memory, even the space and everything is limited. No? Therefore, when processing power, then in order to get the answer quickly as possible, we have to always try to minimize the number of steps we can. If there are any additional or not required unnecessary steps are there, we should remove it. Now, if this is true, there's no point of checking these. Anyway, these are not true. We know for sure. Then we can have a nested if connection. Nested if. Right now, let's say I'm just gonna forget about the marks. Right now, the marks are in between, not in between. Let's say invalid marks are whether the marks is invalid or not. We can check later. Just forget about that. Less than 0 and above 100. I'm not gonna check in this scenario, and there are finally we can add that. Right now, if you start from the beginning, the top. What is the given range here? This is the range now. If the marks are above 90, marks are greater than or equals to 90, then obviously we know it. Let's we assume that is less than 100, then we're gonna display A. Right? If this condition falls, that means what can you say about the marks? If this condition falls, what can you say about the marks?
Marks is below 90.
Below 90. Below 90. Then 80 to 90 B. Then if it is greater than or equals to 80. Now, in order to make sure it is connected, I am going to use else if. Else if marks is greater than 80, then it's going to display B. Now, if it is above 90, this would display A. If it is above 90, that means if this pairs means marks are less than 90. Now again I'm checking whatever the mark, whether it is above 80, then I'm going to display B. Even if this also fails, means marks are less than 8. Now I'm going to check whether it is greater than or equal to 7. If it is greater than or equal to 70, I'm going to say C. Even if now this also else if. Now even if this is also fair, right now that means this is fair. That's why it checks this. This is fair. And because marks are less than 80, now even this is fair. That means marks are less than 70. Marks are less than 70, it is fair. Right now, again I'm going to say, if it is fair, that means marks are less than 70. Then again 60 to 70 D. Then I'm going to check whether it is above 60. Then, right then you can see here, it display D. Now if it is less 50, less than 60, it would be, even if it is fails means less than 60, no? Then I'm going to say else that is F. Right now, even if it is a negative value or even if it is above 100 value, it would display A. Now, if you don't want to let that happen, right, then we can have another if condition to check whether the marks are within the range. So, we can say if you want, we can say marks are, if marks variable greater than or equals to 0, greater than or equals 0, and marks variable less than or equals to 100. If the marks are greater than or equals 0 or the marks are less than or equals to 100, then only I want to check this. Now, if this is true, then it would does all the tasks. Then I can check. I can tell. Else, invalid mark. I can say invalid mark. Right, now let's try. Now 90 to 100, where the problem is. In line number 1, okay, here the problem. It says 45 is less than 60. No, it says, hey, right now if it is a negative value, minus 45. It says invalid mark if it is 100, 105. It's a invalid mark. If it is 90, it says A, and if it is 100, we have it right here. No? Right now it would display A, correct, right? Even if it is 0 fail, likewise we could correct it. Is this clear to you all?
Yes.
Right,
Yes.
great. Okay, now if this condition is false, then none of these conditions will get executed. Now it will check here again. If now again, if this one is true, then it will not check the rest. Likewise, it will work. Right. Now I think it's enough for if condition exercises. Right now, I'm gonna talk about how to take the user inputs. Right. Now, first of all, let's say now we have been talking about this command line arguments. There's an array we have defined. Right. Then let me show you right now what is the all right. Now, how can we get use of these values? Right. Now, this is an array. We haven't talked about the arrays yet. So, okay, we'll do it later. Once we talk about the arrays, then we will, okay, remind me to discuss about the command line arguments when we are started with arrays. Right now, for the time being, now we wanted to get a user input. Then, right now we have Java system.out and .out.print. We have system.out.print, right? Then we have system.out.print method that is to print something. As a complement to that, we have system.in.read. We have system.in.read. Like we have something called system.in.read because we use system.out.print, that is for output stream. And then we say out means the stream is out, print means we are printing to the console. Right, then if you want to get an input from the user, we can use in.read, system.in.read, system.in.read we can use. Right, then system.in.read, there's a problem as well because the system.in.read method can read only a byte from the standard input stream. That is, that can read only a byte from the standard input stream. So This may right now this is the part of the system class, and then that will give it gives us very lower level mechanism to read a byte oriented input. Right, and thereafter the read method reads a byte from the user, whatever the system console, and then it would return the integer. It returns answer as an integer. Right, it returns the answer as an integer representing the ASCII value of the character it read. Therefore, it will read the value as a byte, read the next byte, and then will return the answer as an integer, which represent the ASCII value of the character it read. Therefore, remember system.inRead can read only a single byte at a time. It can read only a single byte at a time, and thereafter it returns the input as an integer, representing the ASCII value of the byte it read. Right. Now let's see how can we take an input, and we can see. Right, again, the system.in.read method is declared or defined to throw an exception. It has declared to throw an exception. Therefore, exception means when you're running the program, sometimes if an exception is triggered, the program gets stopped. Program will stop. Therefore, if the program exception is thrown, you need to have an exception handler to handle the exception. Then there's a famous exception handler in Java, try-catch block. Then using the try-catch block, we can handle the exceptions. Right, then here we will see how to use this, and then I'm not gonna use the try-catch blocks, and then I'm gonna declare the main method will throw an exception. Right, now let's say how can you do this? Right, now if it is now we discussed that Java in.read method reads the next byte of the input, and then it will return as an integer value. Okay, then we'll say please, we're gonna ask user to input, and then I'm gonna use int x equals. Right now I need to get the input system dot in dot read, and I'm gonna display the value user has entered. Whether it is printable or not, I don't know. Let's try out. Okay. Okay, now I'm gonna run this. Now it says okay, as I said previously, in.read method is declared to throw an IO exception, therefore must be caught or declared to be thrown. Then let's declare this main method may throws IO exception. Right, now what does it say? Say exception. Right. Okay, because IO exception we need to import from the exception class. Then since I'm not using any import statements right now, okay. Now I'm going to declare the superclass of the exceptions. That means any kind of exception. Now here it says input output exception, right? Then rather saying input output exception, I'm declaring it as any exception. There are several type of exceptions available in Java. We will discuss later. Right now, just forget about this line. Now, this means this program, that means inside the main method, any of these statements may throw an exception. Right now, we have declared that error exception might thrown. Right now, this is what it says: unreported exception must be caught or declared to be thrown. Therefore, what I have done is I have declared to be thrown. I have declared it to be thrown. Right, that means it may throw an exception. I have declared. Right now, let's see. Right now, once you run the program, right now it is waiting for an input. I'm going to enter 1, and then it gives me 49. I'm going to enter 2. It gives me 50. I'm going to enter A. It gives me 65. I'm going to enter simple A. It gives me 97. I'm going to enter capital B. It gives me 66. Now, do you see any relation? Okay, now what are the values now this is print giving me? Anyone?
ASCII values.
ASCII value, yes, ASCII value. Because capital A, we know it's 65. Then number 1, 49. Number 2, 50. Simple A, we know 97. Likewise, then can it read two values? Right now, let's say if I type A and B, it will read only A. Therefore, it will display 65 because it will read the next byte. It can only read the next byte. If I type 1, 2, 3 as the number, but it would read only 1. Therefore, it won't read the 2 and 3 because it reads only the next byte from the console. So, according to this byte, it will return as an integer. It will return an integer value which representing the ASCII value of the character it read. So, this is the ASCII value of it. Right, then if you cast, we know how to cast, right? Then if you cast into character, then you can, if it is A, it will display. If it is simple A, it will display simple A because it will represent the respective character according to the given ASCII value. Now, if you do not put this, that would give you the given whatever the taken input, the taken byte input, and representing the ASCII value of the byte value. Right? Is that clear? Now, this is how you take an input from the user using system.in.read method. Now you can see there are many drawbacks. What are the drawbacks? It can read only one input at a time, and again that input is 1 byte variable size. 1 byte. It can read only 1 byte. Even 2 numbers it cannot read. Even 2 letters it cannot read. So only 1 byte it could read. Therefore, we have a problem. Therefore, this is not suitable right now. This is not enough for us to work out. So I'm going to go ahead with another way. Right now, if you and again, if you want to read many characters, that you could read the many characters in the read method by using a loop or something. But we haven't learned about the loops, right? While loops, for loops, how to use it, we haven't learned yet. So we don't know how to work with that. And we can read with multi-line parameters and so on. Likewise, then we haven't discussed about it. Now, main limitations of the system.in.read method is it reads only a single byte at a time. Therefore, it reads a single byte at a time. Therefore, it is very less efficient to read multiple lines. And also, write down if you not enter an input, the program will hold, and then it will hold the program until user enters the input. Right. Therefore, it is very difficult to handle the large size of inputs. Likewise, there are many limitations. Therefore, this is about system.in.read. Now we will see how to take a user input. Right now, in order to get a user input, we can use right, in order to get the inputs from the user, either you can read the file, you can by reading a file, you can take the user input, right? Then by reading from a file, likewise. Then here I'm going to use, to take an input, I'm going to use a scanner, right? There's a class called scanner. This is declared to get user inputs. Now, since the scanner class is an available class of the java.utility package, then we have to import that. Therefore, remember, we need to import the utility package. First, if you want to get an input from the user, first thing you have to do is you need to import java.utilities. And in the utility package, there are many classes. Therefore, we need only the scanner class to be important here. Therefore, we can say java.util.scanner. Right now, when you say scanner, the compiler knows, okay, it refers to this scanner class available in the java.util. First, we need to create an object from the scanner class here. Then, scanner s equals new scanner. Scanner s means the variable name we are going to define. That equals to new scanner object, right? Okay, before this line, okay, I will show you how to create an object first of all. Then only you will be able to understand this. No? Right now, let's assume there is a class called right now there is a class called class called class called number. Class called number. Class called library code. Class called number. Let's say number. Class called test number. Test method. Okay, we have a class called number, and then let's say in that class I have a variable called integer x equals 10. String name equals let's say class called car. I have a class called car. Integer year equals 2025, and model equals the brand equals let's say Toyota. Right, I have only these information. Right, I have a class. A class can have variables, class can have methods, and so on. Now, in this class, I have declared only variables for our reference. Okay, for our reference. And later on, I'll declare method as well for your reference. Now, let's save this as a class in the same place in the desktop. Okay, right. First of all, I'll declare it in the same place in the desktop. My class name is car.java. Right now, I have declared both files in the same location. Right now, you can see here the car class and the test class are in the same folder. Right now, okay. Now inside the class test. Right now, let's say if I want to use the class car, I want to read the class car. Then I have to access the class car. Now class car is a different class. So I want to read the car class year. Okay, now we know read the year of the class car, I need to access it. So if I want to access, I need to create an object of the class car. Now let's try to declare an object. Now first of all, I need to declare a variable to assign an object. Therefore, the type of the object. Now I need to save car variable. Car class object I need to save. Then the object type should be car. Then I need to declare it as a class car. car type of variable. Let's say car type of variable, like it is integer x. I'm going to say C. And then now I need to create a new object from the class car. Then I'm going to use the new keyword followed by the call to the constructor. Now, same as the class name. Then forget about the constructor term. We will discuss later. Right now we are creating a variable called C type car. Now this is a reference variable. Now it is same as integer x. What the variable name is x, type is int. Because integer is a primitive data type. Now I am declaring a variable C with the type of car. Car is a class, reference class. Therefore I am referring to a class now. Now integer is a primitive data type. Now car is a class, user made class. Therefore I am referring to a class I declared. Equals a new car. Then I need to create a new object. Therefore, using new keyword, I am creating a new object, and by calling the constructor of the class car, I am initializing the object to a car object. Right. Then now I have created a car object. Now I can read using the car c dot. I have values here now c dot here. I can display the c dot here, and I can call the c dot brand car object dot brand. I can display. Right now, let's see whether this is working. Now I want to compile my test class.java. I want to compile test class.java. Once it compiles, both classes will get compiled. You can check that. Now both class files has to be generated. See, car class and test class both are there. Right now, if I run the test class, because that has the main method, no, the driver. Right now, it says 2025 Toyota. Now, what I did, I have access this class variables. Right now, let me have a method as well. Void, say, void start. Right now, void start. Then I'm going to display inside this method. I'm going to declare car is starting. Right now, let's say there's a method called starting the car. Starting the car. Starting the car. Right now, it would display starting the car. Right now, here, I have a method called start. So if I want to use that, I just need to call c.start. Then if I compile this and if I run this, it would display starting the car. Now this is how I access the method declared in the class car. Right? Now this is how I access. Now what I did here, I have a class called car is saved in the same place. Right, then the class car has two attributes, year and the brand, and it has a method. Method prints starting the car. So I wanted to access the class car. Then what I did, I have created an object from the class car. First, I have declared a variable, the type of class car, and I have assigned it to a new car object. Right, and then after I assign a new car object using the variable name, I have access the attributes c.year, c.brand, and also I have executed the method c dot start by calling c dot start. Now that's how I access it. Right now, we are done with this now. Right now, okay, up to now, is this clear? Is it like Greek? Do you have any questions up to now?
No.
Right. So now I'm going to do a small change now. Right. What is the change? Now, right now, if you can remember now, again, these things I'm just gonna demonstrate you how this works. Okay, don't worry. We will be doing in detail explanations, and we will be doing methods and access modifiers later on. I'm just giving you a head up. Right now, now here. Right now, both are in the same place. No, both are in the same place. Both classes are in the same place. That's why we could do it without any issue. And you can see here in the public main method has a public. The class also can be declared as public. Okay. If you declare it public, that means you are giving the access to all other Java classes. Therefore, now what I'm going to do first is I'm going to create a folder in my desktop called code. And I'm going to delete the car class. No need. And I'm going to put the car class into the code. Right now, this is not found. File open, which is from the code, which is car.java. Right. Okay, now the car class is not available in the same place. Now, where the test class is. I have test.java here now, right in the desktop. But the car class is inside the code folder, not in the same place. Now, if I try to compile this, right now, let's see what's going to happen now. If I try to compile this, I'm getting an error saying what? The car cannot find because the class car is not available. Therefore, class car cannot find the symbol. Right now, class car cannot find. Why? It's in a different place now. So I need to say that, okay, in the class car, okay, now you are inside the package. Right now, I have to say package code. You are inside the package code. I need to say, okay, now the class car I am declaring you are inside the package code. And for the test class, I have to say, now import code package dot car class. Import the code package class car. Right now, when I try to do it, now I'm getting an error. Right now, it can find the car because I have defined the path. No? I have said, okay, the class car is inside the code package. Right then, this is inside the code I have defined. But now it says, okay, car is there, but it has private access, so cannot access. So it cannot access. That's what. Right now, it is public, so cannot be accessed from the outside the package. Now, this is where the access modifier comes in. So just forget about these changes I'm doing, but just for your knowledge, I'm showing you. I'm going to declare it as a public variables. I'm going to declare it as a public variables, public classes, and public methods. Right, now I'm going to declare it as public variables, public class likewise. Now, if I try to do it now, it get compiled successfully. Right now, I will be able to access it. Now, see, just forget about the class car part now from the test class. What I did here now, I wanted to access a car class, but the car class was not in the same place. It was in a different place. So I had to access by importing it. Then I have to provide the import statements. I did it. Import code.car. And then because the class car is available inside the package code. And then I wanted to first create a reference. That means I want to create an object from the class car. So I have declared a variable and thereafter create a new object from the class car and assign it to the variable. Now this variable, the class object C or the variable reference variable C is referring to a car object. Using the car object, I access the car class, year, brand attributes as well as the method start. Is this clear? All right, now the same thing we are doing now is like similar to the class car. I wanted to use the scanner class, so I am importing from the java.util. That is the location java.util. The class name is scanner. I'm importing the scanner and I want to create a scanner object. So I need to create a variable first. Then I'm going to create a scanner type variable called scan equals new scanner. Right now, I need to define this new object of the scanner to what inputs I'm reading. I'm reading input stream system.in. I need to read from the console. Then I'm going to say system.in. I need to define, okay, I'm going to read an input from the input console. I have to declare like that. Now I have done it. Now I can, right now I have the access to the scan. Right now I wanted to read an input. Right now I'm going to ask you to enter the name. I want to get the user input name. Right now, the name. I need to take a string value. There are several methods in the scanner class to read different type of inputs. Now, first thing I want to get the username. Then I need to have a variable called name. And then for that variable name, I need to assign the input I am taking. Then the scanner class, I need to access the scanner class. No, scanner class I can access by the cn scan object dot. There should be a method to take the input. Right now, there's a method called next. Scan dot next. And then I can print the username as whatever the user entered name. Right now, since it is name, let me declare it as X. Right now I don't need the code to import the code. No, right now, let me do it like this. Right now, scanner.next symbol. Right. Okay. Okay. Here, this part was obsolete. Right now, let's run this. Right now, it will ask for user to enter the name. Let's say I'm going to say John Doe. Now the problem is, we have used the next method. No? Right now, next method is taking the input. Right now, the next method will take the input, whatever you have typed. Right? Until you keep the first space. Right? Therefore, it will read only up to the first space. Next method. Thereafter, it will skip. Now see, now this GGFG part will be missing. Right now, if you say Jane whatever the name, it doesn't matter, that part will be skipped because it have used the next method. Next method will read on the string values only up to the first page, right? And then we have something called next line. If you use the next line, it will read the until you press the enter. Jane Doe, Smith, Pereira, likewise, whatever you type, it will. We have to compile first. No? We have to compile and then let's run it. I have typo again. Jane Doe, Pereira, Smith 1, 2, 3. Now it will take the entire thing. So if you want to get the input, you need to entire line. You need to use the next line. The methods are like this. I want you to try. Now, the next method will read only up to the input string up to the space. Right now, if you want to take a byte, there's a method called input byte. You have a method called short. Input short. And if it is next int, if you use next int, input integer. If it is long, if you want to get next long, it would input a long variable. And if it is next float, it would take input float value. If it is next double, it will input a double variable value. Double. If it is, there is no method called next char. Right? There is another method called next boolean. It will input a boolean value. Right? And it has a method called next line. Until up to the input string until this enter. Right, input string. Right, okay, now this is how you can use it. Now for an example, if I want to get two numbers, let's say I'm asking user to enter the x. So I need to take it as an integer value, let's say. Therefore, I'm going to use next integer, which is x, and I want to get the variable y. So I'm going to say input y, and then integer y, next int, then I can display x plus y. Right, now if I run this, 10 plus 20, then it will give you the answer as 30. Right now, this is how you take an integer values. Now what I have to do, next int. If it is next float, now next float, that means it's gonna read a float value. It's gonna read a float value. Therefore, I can't store it inside the integer variable. Then 51, it will give you 60.0. Then even if I type 10.5 and 12.45, likewise, I can take the values. Now, this is how we can read the inputs from the user. I want you to try every method here. Next line, next byte, short, int, long, float, double boolean, and read and each type of the value, and then show it to me via send me via chat and how you write it. Now take a integer, take a float, take a byte, take a short. Likewise, try to get the input from the user. and then try it out quickly. Any questions, please ask.